The thing is, we have to make up our mind as to which answer is the correct answer. We have to make a choice. When you look at the Bible, it explains the answers not really to the meaning, but it explains the answers to the how and the when. How was this world created? How did it get here? Well, it was a supernatural creation of God. God spoke and it was so. So it happened all at once. Zap. No, it didn't. He took 6 days. He could have done it in 6 minutes, but he took 6 days to create it as a pattern for us, as a model for the way we live our lives. And it was done according to a plan and a purpose. You know, on day one, there's certain things happened. Let there be light, and the light was separated from the darkness. There was evening, there was morning, day one. One day. And then on day 3, God's brought the waters together. There was no land at that stage, and the dry land appeared. Then God said, let the earth bring forth vegetation. And it was so. There are beautiful trees to look at. Those trees and plants which have got fruit. And inside the fruit, there's a seed, which when you plant it will produce produce after their kind. Isn't that incredible? And then God created the animals on day 6. And also on day 6 he said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. And so he created man, male and female. He created them, the Bible says. And then it says, God finished the work of creation. So he created the man and the woman, then God finished. And so that points to the fact that we are indeed the pinnacle of God's creation, the purpose of God's creation. And the letter to the Ephesians in the Apostle Paul says that's God's plan. That's why he's got a plan for you, because he's got a plan for people. And it all goes back to Genesis. And so when we look at the living things around about us, you know, a lot of people say, oh, look, just the non-living chemicals just came together and formed the first living cell. And over millions of years, everything evolved. We don't have time to look at that this morning. But basically, nobody's got a clue as to how chemicals could come together. Scientists and governments are spending billions of dollars sending spaceships to Mars to look for life on Mars. Because the idea is if it happened on Earth, it just happened quickly and naturally, it must have happened somewhere else. But they've not found any. You see, life is a lot more than chemicals. Just like an aeroplane is a lot more than mechanical bits. Have a look at this next slide of a Boeing 747. And you can see that, the 747. And this very, very sobering slide to think about is when you're next flying, is that an aeroplane is composed of over 5 million non-flying parts. Think of that when you're flying next. And what makes an aeroplane fly? If the parts don't fly, well, it's the way it's organized. It's the way they're put together. That's what makes the difference. And it's like that with a living cell. You know, a living cell is composed of non-living chemicals, billions of non-living chemicals. So it's not the chemicals that make the cell, it's the way they are organized. That's the incredible difference. And the findings of modern molecular biology have discovered that a cell is incredibly designed, incredibly organized. It's got little motors in it. It's got highways with transporters on it. It's got semi-trailers which are being carried along by prime movers. It's got manufacturing plants. It has power stations in it to provide the energy. It has disposal areas which take things which are no longer needed, and it recycles them. Recycling is not a modern invention. It was invented by the Creator, and it happens within a living cell. And so that we can see something of the amazing design in a living cell. I want to show you just one amazing motor. I could pick hundreds of things to show you, but we don't have time this morning, so I want to show you just one. And if we flick onto the next slide, if we see this works, it's a animation produced by Harvard University based on the latest science, microbiology, of a thing called a kinesin, which is a protein which is like the prime mover of a semi-trailer. It's pulling along its load, which is a bag, a vesicle, full of other proteins, which has been manufactured in a manufacturing plant. Incredible, isn't it? And these proteins have been manufactured because there's been a message sent along saying we need this gear. And so they've been manufactured. There's a label put on the bag to tell the Kenesan where to take it to for particular purposes. And each step that the Kenesan takes, it's 125,000 steps for 1 millimetre. And each step uses a little molecule of energy, ATP, which is manufactured by another motor in the power station of the cell. And so when you look at this, you realise just how great is our God. How amazing. And scientists who study this, who've been atheists, have said there's no way this could have assembled itself just step by step by step over millions of years. It had to all come together. All the bits have to be operating together in order for the thing to work. And if we didn't have the power station, you wouldn't have this. You didn't have the manufacturing plant, this wouldn't work. If you didn't have this, you wouldn't be able to deliver the goods when they were made. It all has to be there and functioning. And it points to the concept that there is an incredible designer. And, we hear people say, just life evolved. It just happened, just chemicals came together. It was just a natural process 3.8 billion years ago, sort of the conditions on Earth. Well, people might say that, but that's not what the experts know. The next slide is a quote by a fellow who's a professor of microbiology. He's written quite a number of books. His name is Paul Davies. You might have heard of him. His books are for sale in most popular bookshops, a very popular writer. And he says this: nobody knows how a mixture of lifeless chemicals spontaneously organise themselves into the first living cell. Nobody knows. And they accuse us of having faith when we say God did it. They can't even explain it. And as a matter of fact, there's no known cause. There's no known, adequate cause to be able to do it. At least the God of the Bible is able to do it. He can do anything, can't he?